Aloha, this is Santa Surfing. Welcome to Beach Broadcast. Today is Monday, July 28th, 2025. I hope you all had a nice weekend. I do want to thank you so much for joining us on santasurfing.locals.com as well as on x.com. There's so much that's going on that I actually put a playlist. I'll show it to you in just a moment. But I put a playlist together for all NESARA and GESARA related posts because we're starting to see a lot of proofs coming out now, and they're coming directly from President Trump and his team. Man, I'll tell you, our boss man, he's not unstoppable. So this is on Trump golfing and signing multi-billion-dollar deals in between his golf rounds and windmills. He talks a lot about windmills, and so I did a little digging on that. It does take away our water, and it's really, really big. Okay, so on my article page for this podcast going forward, I'm going to have a NESARA GESARA playlist, and I'll just kind of give you a screenshot here. There's more, but anything that's NESARA GESARA related or more emphasis in NESARA and GESARA, those are going to be on this playlist. So hopefully you'll get a chance to take a look at those and enjoy those. Okay, so before President Trump, he left to go to Scotland last Friday, and so he gave a little presser out in the White House lawn, and he dropped some names on the Epstein list. Then he arrives with a warm welcome from the people of Scotland. I mean, talk about a shift. He's got the people here in America, the reporters. The reporters are getting a little bit better. I think they're all patriotic or MAGA support reporters now, which is really good. But some, maybe they're intertwined with some fake news people. But anyway, then he arrives to Scotland, and the people in Scotland, they were just giving him such a warm welcome. So, and then he plays golf on a Trump organization-owned golf course. Just giving you a little emphasis because we know a lot of liberals, they're losing their freaking minds right now. They're saying he's spending taxpayer dollars, and I'm thinking, oh, brother. He's working, and then he's taking his little personal time to do what he needs to do. So let me go ahead and just show you just a short summary of some of the clips here. Oh, man, oh, man, oh, man. All right, and remember, he's also mentioned Harry. He's going to need he's going to need a lot of help because he's been known to go to the island. But he talks about Bill Clinton went to the island 28 times. He goes, I never went to the island. Okay, so he's making it very clear. He never has been to the island, but their names are on the island. So what's going on with the liberals? They're going out there, they're digging. They're going to try to find everything. They're going to uncover every rock that's out there to try to find out if President Trump ever made it to the island. And then when they come back, well, they'll probably be giving you a phone call and saying, oh, my goodness, you were absolutely right. So President Trump through Il Donato was saying the gloves are off. And also Ghislaine Maxwell, she also had Todd Blanche, the Deputy Attorney General. So he's underneath Pam Bondi. Pam Bondi's, I don't know, she's still got the torn cornea. So she's out of the picture for a little bit. And Todd Blanche comes in, and he said that she answered all the questions. Ghislaine Maxwell answered all the questions, named about 100 names, and named activities and events that unfolded. Now she's looking for partial immunity, and so let's see where this goes, right? So then President Trump, he meets with Ursula von der Leyen. She's about as liberal as they get. And she made a deal. But this is what she said back in March of this year. She was like, nah, I don't think so. Check this out. And then it's going to roll into the clip of President Trump making the deal with Ursula. It's so fantastic what President Trump is doing.
The trade relations between the European Union and the United States are the biggest in the world. They have brought prosperity and security to millions of people, and trade has created millions of good jobs on both sides of the Atlantic. As of this morning, the United States is applying a 25% tariff on imports of steel and aluminum. We deeply regret this measure. Tariffs are taxes. They are bad for business and worse for consumers. They are disrupting supply chains. They bring uncertainty for the economy. Jobs are at stake, prices up. Nobody needs that on both sides, neither in the European Union nor in the United States.
So we have good news. We've reached a deal. It's a good deal for everybody, I believe. And I think you were saying this is probably the biggest deal ever reached in any capacity, trade or beyond trade.
It is.
It's a giant deal with lots of countries, because as you know, Ursula represents a lot of countries, not one country. It's not easy for you. It's because a lot of very different countries, great countries, but some are strong with cars, some are strong with agriculture, some are strong with both, right? You have a lot of different factors. So we're going to do the following. The European Union is going to agree to purchase from the United States $750 billion worth of energy. $750 billion worth of energy. They are going to agree to invest into the United States $600 billion more than they're investing already. So they're investing a large amount of money. You know what that amount of money is. It's very substantial, but they're going to invest an additional $600 billion. They're agreeing to open up their countries to trade at zero tariff. So that's a very big factor. Opening up their countries, all of the countries will be opened up to trade with the United States at zero tariff. And they're agreeing to purchase a vast amount of military equipment. We don't know what that number is, but it's the good news is we make the best military equipment in the world, so sort of you have to do that. I mean, until somebody tops us, which is not going to happen. We're way ahead of every other country in terms of the quality of the military equipment. You saw that recently in Iran, and you see that, unfortunately, you see that often for all the wrong reasons, right? So those things are $750 billion, $600 billion, opening up the country. We are agreeing that the tariff straight across for automobiles and everything else will be a straight across tariff of 15%. So we have a tariff of 15%. We have the opening up of all of the European countries, which I think I could say were essentially closed. I mean, you weren't exactly taking our autos, you weren't exactly taking our agriculture, and then you would have smaller things, but for the most part it was closed. And now it's open. It's open for our companies to go in and do a good job with it. I think you'll like them. I think you'll like it. And we will, very importantly, they'll be investing a lot of money, but the military is a big number, but that's one number we're not determining. It's going to be whatever it is, but they're going to be purchasing hundreds of billions of dollars worth of military equipment. They're very importantly, they're going to purchase $750 billion worth of energy. So that's going to be great. And $600 billion worth of investments into the United States over and above what they have. So, and I think that basically concludes the deal. I mean, those are the main factors. I don't think there are too many other factors, other than we're going to get along great. And we have a great relationship now with NATO, which is largely the same. I mean, not exactly, but pretty close, right? Largely. And with NATO, as you know, they're going up to 5% from 2%. And the relationship is very strong with NATO. So I just want to congratulate you. I think it's great that we made a deal today instead of playing games and maybe not making a deal at all. I think it's, I'm going to let you say it, but I think it's the biggest deal ever made. Thank you very much. Congratulations.
Oh, man. Her body language alone, she didn't have that pompous Ursula look. She was having a hard time trying to spit things out. I guess I'm wondering if this is the walk of shame week, because we saw Jerome Powell have his walk of shame last week. And then we have Ursula. She's sitting there very humble. Her hands on her knees, kind of hunched over. And then she ends up shaking his hand. Of course, not really wanting to do these deals, but probably has to do these deals now. But these are the countries that are all involved, and it's so fantastic. A $750 billion deal plus $600 billion plus they're going to pay for military equipment. He didn't say what number that would be, and then he will open UE countries with 0% tariffs. Now, I'm not too sure which way they go, if it's both ways, but what it's doing, it's opening up these nations. The countries involved, the 27 nations are Austria, Belgium, Bulgaria, Croatia, Cyprus, Czech Republic, Denmark, Estonia, Finland, France, Germany, Greece, Hungary, Ireland, Italy, Latvia, Lithuania, Luxembourg, Malta, Netherlands, Poland, Portugal, Romania, Slovakia, Slovenia, Spain, and Sweden. How huge, huge. These are Western European countries. Huge is that, yes? He's opened up Japan, opened up their whole country to us. Thailand, he's worked on Thailand right now, Vietnam, and he's got the Indonesia. So these are big, 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 huge deals, but this one was in particular big. Well, he's golfing. So, well, I'll show you in two pictures what President Trump did this weekend, and it's really fantastic. Then, oh my goodness, then he welcomes the Prime Minister of the UK. Okay, you've got Keir Starmer, who's coming over to the UK, and I'm going to play this clip for you, and I'll share something that Il Donato posted. Okay, so this is truly the boss move of all boss moves. Check this out. Oh my gosh, all my viewers in the UK and Western Europe, you have got to be doing the Sammy Dance. If you're not, get up and do the Sammy Dance. How big is that? I'll share something with you. We didn't get to hear what they were saying, but President Trump, he did tell us what they were talking about. But man, I'll tell you, this is so exciting. This is the people of these countries. Yes, you've been suffering, but guess what? So have we here in the United States. We had to deal with the idiot Biden, who spent most of the time on the beach. We had to deal with him, the bumblehead, and we had to deal with everything that they were doing. And also we're dealing with a very corrupt DC and Congress, many people in Congress, not all, but many people in Congress. And so please know we are in it with you, but we are going to be seeing something just absolutely stunning and beautiful happen. Yeah, go UK, go EU countries, the people, this is going to be incredibly huge. Now, we know that President Trump, he went and did his world tours back in 2017 and then 2018 and then on 2019. He had nations that acquiesced, that submitted, that capitulated to Trump. Now, some people might say, well, how does Trump have that kind of power? Yeah, good question. He is the only world leader that had no genocide, no tyranny, no crimes against humanity, didn't take a paycheck, didn't have anything dirty associated to his name. And all these other world leaders, they did something bad. He aligned himself. He formed an alliance with certain world leaders to go ahead and take down the deep state in their respective countries. And it's all working out. Now he's going out there and he's proving to the world, I am the leader of the world. And that's what the big message is, because many people, like him or not, he's doing fantastic and great things. President Trump, through his Il Donato account, he says, I did say, welcome to Scotland, to the Prime Minister. So because a lot of liberals are saying, well, he was welcoming him to his Scotland, his Turnberry resort. No, look at this. He's receiving them like as if he was at the White House, receiving people coming in to visit him. And, or you could have had this prime minister say, hey, we got a great location that we can go ahead and meet. President Trump had him on his turf. So he's like, welcome to Scotland. Okay, imagine this. It would be as if the president of a particular nation A is welcomed, okay, let's say he's a president, is welcomed by whatever, a particular person who says, hey, welcome to your own country, okay? This is President Trump's role, guys, and how big and massive it is. And these trade deals, it's a lot bigger than tariff deals, a lot bigger than currency manipulation, making sure that doesn't happen again. it's bigger and better. And when he says he's opening up the nations and opening up the countries, yes, we've had a little bit of that. Japan closed those doors and now they're reopening that, which is huge and massive. But when they're saying opening up, what other things are they opening up? Their stock markets, right? They're things that they have in their countries that, again, we're not privy to, and vice versa. These are the deals that are really big. You may live in a different country and listen to this podcast and say, yeah, I definitely want to open my business up to, because it sells products, I want to open it up to Americans, right? Or vice versa. Now President Trump is making that happen. And then he's also got the crypto, his Bitcoin strategic reserve, and he's got these crypto bills that he signed so that they can have that kind of payment process happen quickly and I don't want to say swiftly, but because Ripple is replacing Swift from what I've read, but it's going to happen quickly and at like lightning speed, not have to wait a few days for the funds to clear. So that's really, really big for the small business owners. Man, I'll tell you, President Trump is loved so much. Even the birds love President Trump. And look at this here. I love this. It is really cute. Okay, further proof that President is control of the world. This was posted by the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio. Now, this is over the weekend. Rubio's point is that the Cartel de los Soles is a terrorist organization and has taken possession of a country. And it emphasizes Maduro is under indictment for pushing drugs in the U.S. Marco Rubio posted this. And this is a big statement coming from the Secretary of State. Maduro is not the president of Venezuela, and his regime is not the legitimate government. Maduro is the head of the Cartel de los Soles, a narco-terror organization that has been in possession of a country, and he is under indictment for pushing drugs into the United States. Now, again, public narrative, what's really going on behind the scenes? Now, is he making it clear? Again, Venezuela, that's not your government. That's not your president. So who is your president, Venezuela? Is it Trump, right? Again, big, big point. So President Trump, though, okay, optics. President Trump and Maduro, they had previously worked out a deal. Release the 6 American hostages. In return, take back your 350,000 illegal migrants, immigrants, aliens from America. Take them back to Venezuela. Have them re-enter back into Venezuela. In return, Trump reopened Chevron oil in Venezuela. The optics are necessary. Why? To distract the deep state that's holding on to whatever stranglehold they have remaining. Let the people of this of Venezuela, a very impoverished country, begin to thrive again while Trump works out his plan. Now, I did a lot of digging on Venezuela, and what I learned as well is that a lot of the people in Venezuela, they wanted to go ahead and make sure their currency, because they were seeing their currency start to fall, so they went ahead and put their bolivars, which is their version of our USD, it's their currency. They went ahead and put their Venezuelan bolivars and they converted it into, guess what, XRP. Why? So it holds its value, because the bolivar kept declining in value. And so the XRP has more. We went through this in my last two podcasts ago. All right, so that's how that would work. Now, Trump-Maduro deal is this. And I found an AI that actually works. It's on Brave. You just type it in on Brave, and then AI pops up, and it's working for me. So in early 2025, the Trump administration engaged in diplomatic efforts with Nicolas Maduro, resulting in significant policy shift. Rick Grenell traveled to Caracas on January 31st, 2025, to meet with him, marking a high-level re-engagement agreement between the two governments. Now, by February 3rd, 2025, the U.S. announced a deal with Maduro, agreed to release the 6 Americans in Venezuela, and then Venezuela committing to accepting the reparation fights of deported migrants, 350,000. And then, however, okay, so they opened it, and then what they did in return, in exchange, the Trump administration, right up here, renewed Chevron's license to operate in Venezuela for just 6 months. Okay, remember, that was back in late January, so we're heading towards the end of the 6-month period, allowing the company to continue oil production that accounts for about 25% of the country's crude output. The more reversed the previous cancellation of Chevron's license and signaled a pragmatic shift in U.S. policy. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Okay. However, the administration later canceled Chevron's license again, citing concerns over Maduro's legitimacy and slow cooperation of migrant reparations, meaning that they were taking them in very slowly. July 24th, just 4 days ago, just days before the current date, the Trump administration, they reissued the license again, allowing Chevron to resume oil operations, indicating ongoing fluctuations in the U.S./Venezuela relationship based on diplomatic migration benchmarks. That's what's going on. So just 4 days ago, something big happened. This is when this organization was categorized as a terrorist organization. But Marco Rubio, was he telling the world that in Venezuela, that president, Maduro, is not your president? So he can't go out and say, President Trump's your president. That would make people freak out. They did that with the Canadians and the liberals in Canada. They were losing their minds. And the patriots in Canada were saying, no, we want President Trump. We want to be the 51st state. Don't worry, hang tight. Because if President Trump worked out a deal with the UK and worked out a deal with the EU, you know that the 33 Commonwealth nations are also a part of that UK deal, right? Trump is talking windmills. He's windmills here, windmills there. They look ugly, da-da-da. He's not saying anything. So he worked out deals with Indonesia, Japan, Vietnam, and now the EU and UK and many other countries as well. He keeps talking about the windmills. He keeps slamming. He slammed Sturmer about it. He slammed Ursula about it. He was like, I hate your windmills. They suck. They're you know, and he didn't hold back at all. He's not, in this term, he doesn't care what people think. He's getting things done. But this is what the windmills did. It pumps water up. Let me just go ahead and let me just show this here. Oh, where did it go? Here we go. Oh, where did it go? Oh, it didn't show. Hang on just for a second. Here we go. Windmill energy uses. Windmill energy, also known as wind energy, has several historical and modern uses. Historically, windmills are used for milling grain to produce food such as bread. They're also used for pumping water, which was essential for draining land and supporting agriculture. I'm going to just stop right there. Think about 20, 30 years ago, maybe 40 years ago, when California farmers were withheld their water rights. What happened to that water, right? They were pumping, they were getting their water. Normally, they were getting it fine before the windmills came around. Then the windmills this is the alternative energy. Have you ever seen anybody, even on your tax return, saying, oh, do you have windmill supported energy? You can get a tax credit for that. Or does somebody say, hey, I have windmill energy. I get to pay lower bills on that? No. So what are they using these windmills for? And then in Maui, I remember talking to a crane company, and they said, oh yeah, one of our biggest accounts, get this, is a windmill farm in Maui, and every time one of their blades breaks, it costs $100,000 to repair. That's for transport of the blade to where it needs to go and transport it back and then have it craned up. All right. Crazy. But what were those windmills used for? And this is the part I got my attention, is they were used for pumping water. So where did the water in California go? Where did the water in Lahaina go? Where did the water in Africa go? Where did the water? God did not make this earth to make it dry and make people starve. He did not. He is a wonderful God. But what the man did is they did this to impoverish many countries so that they would be dependent and reliant and die. And President Trump is nourishing it back. He's saying, we're getting rid of all the windmills all around the world. I really appreciate you, President Trump, on Il Donato, because once I put that out there, I was like, I can't understand windmills. Windmills is more than that, more than the energy. What else is going on? And then that was making more sense, because he wants to preserve the water so that it could be used for the farmers, for the ranchers, and then it has a domino effect. And then Il Donato says, we will slay every last freaking windmill. Oh man. Robert Kennedy over the weekend. This is what really caught my attention. He says, at Steve Jarvis's inspiring regenerative farm in Potluck, Idaho, with one of Steve's Vizsla's pups. This little puppy is called Vizsla. Can I bring this puppy home? Okay, was that a dog calm? I don't know. But anyway, going back to this, he was talking about inspiring. He could have said inspiring farm, but he called it a regenerative farm. And that caught my attention. It was like, whoa, 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 whoa. Is he talking about med beds? Is he getting close to that? And well, guess what happened? I'm telling you, whatever you're putting out there, the manifestation, the way we keep thinking, the way our direction is, it's working. Regeneration Farm, if you're curious, focuses on sustainable and regenerative agriculture, producing healthy food and nursery plants while promoting environmental and ecological resilience. How big is that? Okay, so it's regenerating the farm, making sure it's all used healthy food, and also it needs to be watered, right? It needs to have the water released. President Trump, he did mention when he was talking about the windmills that he has restricted windmills in the United States. Boom, done. It's kind of funny too because I noticed that nobody's ever go in Maui. They don't. It's like it just spins, but I don't see. Usually we see some work trucks or something going on over there, but nah. Elon replies to a post about Regeneration Farm. Okay, so what happened? Elon, he replies to a post about a version of it's his own technology, but it's a version of a medbed, which is a regeneration medbed already in the trial stage. President Elon posted this. So Grok is responding to somebody and it said, ER100 is a life biosciences gene therapy using OCT4, SOX2, KLF4 factors for partial epigenetic reprogramming. It reverses age-related DNA. What was one of the Q posts about our DNA, right? Restoring youthful gene expression in cells. Preclinical trials in mice and primates show vision's restoration. Elon, it's his own technology. He posts, interesting. And then Grok continues on. Indeed, Elon, ER100's OSK factors could redefine longevity by resetting cellular age markers. With this primate trial succeeding, a human studies in months may unlock treatments for age-related decline, potentially extending health span dramatically. This, again, many of us knew about these med beds. There's 3 different types. The regeneration, here's one, and also how it's more of there's another one where it actually starts to, those that have lost limbs, that their limbs will start to return back, which I saw in videos. This is before AI was around. Years ago, I saw that. And then the other one is, of course, for healing our bodies with it, and then it could detect what kind of problems we have. But these are not available for the public right now, guys. They're being in the testing stage. So please don't, I'm just asking you, we can manifest it, but I wouldn't say, oh man, I can't wait till next month or whatever. When you put a time frame on that, it might disappoint. Just keep trusting in God for what he's got planned. But he's using humans, to use their gifts to come up with stuff like this that can help heal people. I'll tell you, what a time to be alive, yeah? Other kinds of cures and therapeutics coming, as mentioned in many of the Jasara pods. Neurolink, get this, can help, is going to, look at this. Elon Musk says Neurolink will help blind people see again within the next year. Oh my gosh. Can you imagine a blind person being able to see, whether it be the first time or again? How fantastic this is going to be for mankind, for humanity. So you've got regeneration technology. I can't say med beds because they didn't call it med beds, but technology. You've got Neuralink that can help with people that are paralyzed and help them use their minds in order to think about getting work done. We got Optimus that will be the robots to do a lot of menial tasks. They want you and I and us to continue, like I guess with regeneration, they want the baby boomers and eventually the Gen Xers to start to work as long. They need you. They need you, whether it's to carry out a humanitarian project or whether it's because there's going to be so much business coming in, it's going to be ridiculous, and so much activity that they need all hands on deck, yeah? From housing veterans to homeless people to showing the world that President Trump, he is in full control. President Trump is making big moves all because of God. God chose him to have a level playing field for everyone and every nation and the people of the nation. Tariff and trade deals are all, in my humble opinion, you decide, NESARA and GESARA related deals. That's how the OBBB is NESARA, GESARA related. Our world is ready, really, truly, to unite as one, completely one with all the people in it. Man, it's just going to be magnificent, right? Really, truly, what a time to be alive. President Trump this weekend, this is in essence what he had done. He was golfing, signing deals, and so he was doing this. These are memes generated by Grok. All right, so he was doing this, and then he was also doing this, which he was this is supposed to say swamp indictment list. Okay. He was posting, his phone was smoking hot while he was out there golfing, or in between his rounds, in between the holes of rounds that he's going through. Makes me wonder, what's the big stuff? There's a lot of big swamp stuff that he was dropping. That's in my next podcast, because that would be a full podcast in itself. But that's in the next podcast. So again, we may see the swamp related news. He needs to keep it in our front and center for us for a while, maybe until next year, before the birth of the 250th birthday of in 2026, July 4th. I had read that the DC swamp is really going down by the midterms of 2026. So I'm telling you guys, it's literally right around the corner. But in the meantime, August 1st, this Friday, is a very big day, because that's when a lot of the tariff deals are in place. My goodness gracious. So get yourselves ready. Just get right with God. Know that he chose you. He said, and you have fought. There's some people I haven't seen it for years come all of a sudden pop up in my feeds, and they're saying, hey, San, I've been following you for years, ever since you started Twitter. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I remember you. So it's wonderful. But reconnecting and remembering why we all connected together, and we all became one big family. Yeah. So keep the positive vibrations going. Just know God's got you. When our Lord in heaven, when Jesus actually was on earth, and he said at the Sermon of the Mount, when he was talking to the people, and he said, the meek shall inherit the earth. Think about this, having our water's rights coming back, where you can have a self-sustained home, self-sustained garden. You might even have a little bit of room for a farm, so you can have eggs, and you may still need to buy certain items. Is that what God was talking about? Was that what Jesus meant? Is that part of the earth where you could just live off of God's planet? How big and how beautiful is that? Yeah. And what President Trump is signing, the big smiles on his face, and the deals that he's making, again, knowing that he is going to be giving back everything. Remember, Job got everything taken away from him, and then he got everything back tenfold. Is that what God, I'm asking, is that what God will give back to you? I don't know. I'm just asking, because our God is a wonderful God. And so he chose people like President Trump to roll out his plan. And he chose people like you to help President Trump roll out his plan. So continue doing what you're doing. Thank you so much for being the warriors that you are. God bless you abundantly, so abundantly. Big, big, big surfer hugs. And I will have a show very, very, very soon. God bless you all so abundantly. Have a beautiful evening, and I will have a show tomorrow. Aloha.